In today's video, we are going to explore Tawhid, the foundation of Islamic monotheism, can open up deeper spiritual insights into the nature of divine presence and how Rumi helps us navigate the tension between God's transcendence and immanence. This channel grows through the quiet support of those who care. If you would like to walk a little further with us, gently sustaining this work, you are welcome to join as a member, make small donation, or become patron. Every gesture, however small, truly matters.
The idea of the unity of being is often linked to Islamic mystics like Rumi, but it is not so simple to directly attribute this concept to him. That's because the foundation of Rumi's thought lies in Islamic theology, which is firmly grounded in the principle of God's absolute unity, known as Tawhid. As the Quran declares, say, He is Allah, the one and only. This idea of divine unity has long served as the cornerstone of Muslim thought, uniting theological, mystical, and philosophical schools across centuries. At its core, Tawhid affirms that God is utterly transcendent. He is beyond the world and entirely unlike his creation. Yet paradoxically, Tawhid also affirms that God acts in the world and reveals his presence through his attributes. In this sense, God appears as the sole actor behind all that exists. These two aspects, God's transcendence and his nearness, shape the Islamic worldview and set it apart from pantheistic systems that see the world itself as a direct manifestation of the divine. Within this unique theological framework, pantheism remains a fringe idea. However, the concept of unity of being, wahdat al-wujud, can still be viewed as a natural extension of Tawhid rather than a contradiction of it. It reflects a mystical realization that the unity of God, so deeply emphasized in Islam, may also imply a kind of unity between God and creation, not by identity, but by dependence and reflection. Indeed, the Quran offers verses that support this mystical outlook. Wherever you turn, there is the face of Allah. Everything on earth will perish, but the face of your Lord will endure. He is the first and the last, the manifest and the hidden. He is with you wherever you are.
Some traces of pantheistic thinking can even be found in one of God's names, al-Haq, the real. In Sufi thoughts, this name suggests that all other beings are merely shadows or illusions lacking true reality.
This pantheistic tone also appears in several well-known hadiths, which speak to the intimate connection between God and all of creation. One famous example is the sacred narration in which God says, I was a hidden treasure and I love to be known so that I created the world to be known. Another powerful saying, attributed to the Prophet's companion Abu Ubaidah al-Jarrah, expresses, I never saw anything without God being closer to me than that thing. Yet despite these mystical insights, there remains a significant gap between the oneness of God in himself and the idea of God's unity with the world. This leap from transcendence to immanence is not one that mainstream theology is willing to make. It is primarily the mystics who dare to speak in such terms, occasionally crossing into pantheistic territory. This tension between strict monotheism and a more pantheistic vision is reflected in the works of Jalaluddin Rumi. His writings seem to move fluidly between affirmations of God's absolute unity, Tawhid, and poetic glimpses of God's presence permeating all things. This makes it difficult to place him firmly within either theological camp. Is he a monotheist or a pantheist? In truth, his work contains both dimensions. The transcendence and immanence of the divine woven into one spiritual tapestry. However, when elements of wahdat al-wujud do appear in Rumi's writings, They are expressed not through systematic philosophical argument, but through moments of ecstatic utterance, what the Sufis call shatahat. Rumi was, after all, a poet, not a metaphysician. He did not write to satisfy philosophical categories, but to awaken hearts. His language is symbolic, metaphorical, and deliberately paradoxical. Rather than offering a clear doctrinal position, he draws us into a labyrinth of awe, wonder, and spiritual bewilderment, where meanings are multiple and certainty is surrendered to experience. The concept of wahdat al-wujud is far from univocal. It carries multiple layers of meaning that unfold in two primary ways. First, it can be understood as a latent or a priori unity embedded within nature and humanity, something that exists in potential, awaiting realization. Second, it can be seen as an a posteriori reality, brought into being through the spiritual journey of the mystic, Salik, who gradually moves from conventional monotheism toward a deeper, more experiential pantheism. In Rumi's work, this notion of unity can also be approached from two complementary perspectives. One is structural or logical. Unity of being encompasses various expressions such as immanent unity, pantheism, union with God, ittihad, and divine indwelling, hulul. The other is genetic or transformational. It refers to a spiritual evolution, a passage from fragmented individuality toward a complete ontological union.
Another layer of ambiguity lies in the nature of this unity itself. It doesn't belong to the realm of pure intellect, which operates through fixed identities and stable definitions. Instead, it emerges from a field of difference, contradiction, and paradox.
And yet, paradoxically, the ultimate aim of this mystical experience is to realize a kind of identity, not through reason, but through the heart, a direct, lived recognition of oneness between the self and the divine. In Rumi's ecstatic expressions, shatahat, we find poetry and philosophy, contradiction and coherence, self-annihilation, fana, and abiding, baka, all entangled. This unity, then, is not static, but it strives to transcend all boundaries, including those of language, logic, and duality. It seeks to bypass categories like unity and multiplicity, self and other, to meet existence face to face. It's a journey through all spiritual states and stations, aiming at direct encounter with the singular absolute. Ultimately, Rumi's vision of unity of being cannot be separated from the deeper questions of identity. Who am I? Who is the divine you? Rather than avoiding these tensions, Rumi embraces them. In his vision, contradiction is not a flaw but a generative force, the space where transformation and divine intimacy become possible. The term unity of being is inherently ambiguous. First, because it is made up of two major concepts, unity and being. Second, when it comes to being, Rumi often replaces this term with essence in his writings. As a result, when he speaks of the unity of being, what he actually refers to is the unity of essence. Why does this matter? In Rumi's metaphysical view, the usual philosophical distinction between essence, what something is, and existence, that something is, does not apply to God. For God, essence and existence are one and the same. He exists not through something else, but through himself. This contrasts with created beings, whose existence depends on something outside themselves, e.g., causes, conditions, time. Third, the word unity in unity of being, wahdat al-wujud, is not something extra added onto existence, like a quality or accident. Rather, it expresses the absolute negation of any similarity between God and other beings. When Rumi says, "Look round the world for others and reach certainty, there are no others," he emphasizes that there is no reality apart from al-haq. Even when al-Hallaj famously declared, I am the truth. It was not al-Hallaj speaking as a separate individual, but God manifesting through him.
From this point of view, existence, essence, and unity all refer to the same reality, the singular, undivided divine being. Only God truly exists. Everything else is contingent, illusory, or reflective.
Yet, this idea raises a paradox. If only God exists, how do we explain the fact that we seem to see countless other beings, people, trees, animals, stars? To address this, Rumi makes a crucial distinction. Only God's existence is real, while everything else has a borrowed or imagined existence. He writes, I swear, since I have seen your face, the whole world has become fraud and fantasy to me. To resolve this contradiction, Rumi, like-minded thinkers, introduces the idea of divine manifestation. The world is not truly separate from God, but a mirror that reflects divine qualities. Created things do not exist by themselves. They exist through and in God. This leads to an important analogy. The relationship between unity and manifestation is like that between essence and accident in classical philosophy. In this analogy, essence is what is truly real, and accidents are merely temporary expressions that do not define reality itself. To illustrate, Rumi offers a metaphor. Essence is like a musk diffuser, and the material world and its pleasant things are the perfume of this musk. This perfume does not last forever, since it is only an accident. Whoever seeks the musk behind the perfume is a good man, but anyone who is satisfied with the perfume alone is a bad man. In other words, the sincere seeker looks past the surface, the scent, to discover the source, the musk. Those who mistake temporary appearances for the real thing remain trapped in illusion. For Rumi, then, unity of being is not a philosophical system, but a mystical orientation, to see all things as reflections of the one and not be deceived by the multiplicity of forms.
It is essential to recognize that the notion of manifestation carries within it a profound paradox. On one hand, manifestation implies the revelation of a hidden, mysterious essence, making the unseen visible. However, if we reflect deeper, we realize that manifestation also means the exact opposite. It serves to conceal the divine essence.
This duality is beautifully expressed by al-Hallaj, who said, "He is hidden in his manifestation, manifest in his concealing." Rumi echoes this tension when he explains that God's reality remains veiled because its full unveiling would annihilate all existence. He writes, "If his light shone without a veil, neither heaven nor earth, neither sun nor moon would remain, only the king would exist." In this paradoxical sense, the veil that hides God is also what allows the world to be. From this perspective, pantheism emerges as a radical attempt to resolve one of the oldest philosophical and mystical dilemmas. How can the one and the many coexist? This aporia plays out both objectively, between God and creation, and subjectively, between self and other, or I and you. As a result, the idea of the unity of being takes on two distinct but interrelated dimensions. The first is what we might call potential unity, a hidden unity in which al-Haq is veiled beneath the diversity of his manifestations. The second is actualized unity, which unfolds through the spiritual process of refining the human essence, allowing divine unity to emerge in experience. In this view, reality is a whole with two sides, God and the world, yet ultimately, from beginning to end, there is none but you. Subjectively, the unity of being is the inner journey of transforming the I into the you. According to Rumi, this transformation is only meaningful if God dwells within the human being. He encourages seekers to look inward, declaring, "The kingdom of God is inside you," and when you reflect deeply, you find the roots of all things within yourself. Everything else is a branch of your own self. In his Rubaiyat, Rumi instructs the spiritual traveler, O seeker on the path, do not search for him outside yourself, find him within. He warns against chasing shadows in the outer world when the one being sought has never left the seeker's own heart. In conclusion, the doctrine of unity of being in Rumi's thought does not offer a tidy system of metaphysics, but rather a profound experiential paradox. It bridges the outer world of forms and the inner realm of the heart, revealing that God is both hidden and present, both other and within. Through the veils of manifestation, the seeker is invited to see not separation, but reflection, not duality, but a mysterious oneness that pulses through all things.
In this journey, the mystical path is not a flight from the world, but a way perceiving it anew, as the mirror in which the divine gazes upon himself. Thank you for watching. With deep gratitude and admiration, I want to thank Sean Wong for becoming my highest tier patron. Your support is not only generous, it's inspiring. See you next time.